Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Ryan here and you're watching Some For All, a place where you can watch some My Hero Academia CCG videos for all of you amazing people around the world. First and foremost, thank you so much to all my new subscribers, to everybody that's leaving comments on my videos. Love you all, and I'm going to continue to keep up the grind because I'm so excited for this game and I hope that you guys are too. So in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a card that has been confirmed. We know that we are going to be getting it, but it actually wasn't in the demo decks, and that's Future Charge, an Izuku Midoriya card, a card that's probably going to be in the Izuku Midoriya rival decks. Now, first and foremost, I must give shoutouts to the source. Shoutouts to Meta Maniacs. They made a post about this back in 2020 when they did a huge info dump. So shoutouts to them. I'll also post a link to this in the description to that post as well in case you guys are interested and want some more information. But like I said, in this video, we're going to be talking about Future Charge. So let's go over the fundamentals of the card. So it's an attack, and it also is a mid, right? So that means that it can be blocked high, mid, or low. It can be blocked in any direction. Let's take a look at the resource symbols. For this card, it's good, life, and order. The exact same ones that are on the other Izuku Midoriya themed cards in the demo decks, and also the ones that we can expect to be in the rival decks as well. Now, if we take a look at its difficulty, top left corner, you have to pass a control check of 4 in order to play it. And if we look at the control check modifier value at the bottom right, it's a 3 as well. In terms of on the defensive end, its block modifier is a high block at a value of 2. Now let's look at its combat. We already talked about how it is going to be a mid attack, but we never talked about how fast it is. Its speed is a 3, and its power, its damage, is a 5. Okay, so we went over all of the fundamentals of the cards. Now, if you want a more in-depth explanation in terms of what each number and what each symbol exactly is, well, luckily for you, I have a video on that talking about the card anatomy. I'll put that up in a card at the top right corner of the video. You can click on if you want to learn a little bit more in case you don't know. So now let's talk about Future Charge's ability. It's a punch, first and foremost. Really important to know. So it has 2 enhance effects, which means that both of these can be activated in the enhance step, even on the same turn. So, the first enhance is destroy 1 foundation. Your next punch gets -2 difficulty. The second enhance is if this attack is completely blocked, commit one of your opponent's foundations. Okay, let's break these down a little bit and think of some combos. I want to talk about its second ability first. So we already know that it's a mid, and mids can be blocked high, mid, or low. So essentially any card that your opponent has in their hand. But in order for it to be completely blocked, they need to be blocking in the same direction, meaning that they have to block with a card that has a mid block modifier. So with that being said, they'll still take partial damage even if they block high or low, which means that this card's enhance will not activate if it actually does get partially blocked, because it needs to be completely blocked. So you need to give your opponent incentive to want to fully block this attack. So you can juice this up with Izuku Midoriya's enhance, in which you discard your hand and your punch gets +10 damage. So essentially your attack is 15 damage, right? But when you think about it, is it actually worth it to use this enhance just so your opponent can completely block your attack and then that way they commit 1 foundation? For me, I would rather save this +10 damage for something else. But now let's think of the card Midoriya Strike. And of course, this card's name and also effect can be changed. This is just the name that was on the demo decks that were released in Gen Con. But let's take a look at Midoriya Strike, right? It's also a punch, and its enhanced effect is your opponent commits 1 foundation for each punch attack in your card pool. Now this gets a little bit interesting, right? Now obviously when you're going for lethal, your opponent's probably already softened up from some previous attacks, right? Maybe they got hit by a Delaware Smash or 2. Maybe you already activated a Future Charge earlier in the game and they got hit by that, right? So maybe you've already done 11 damage to your opponent and now you're thinking you can go for the jugular. Whether they get hit by the Future Charge and they partially block it so you don't get the enhance effect of them committing one of their foundations, they're still taking half damage from that. But then also you have a card like Midoriya Strike, we're going to allow them to continue to commit their foundations for each punch attack in their card pool. These 2 alone is already them committing 2 cards, so potentially they're committing 3 cards that turn just from these 2 punches. But ideally, you're not just going to end lethal with just 2 punch attacks. Maybe you've played 2 future charges that turn, then you go for the Midoriya Strike. All of a sudden now, you have a potential up to 5 cards committed. Of course, that's in maybe a perfect world, and that's if your opponent wants to fully block the future charge. But you also have to think about other cards as well. You do all that to set up for the 5% Detroit Smash. A card whose enhance allows you to discard 1 momentum, and it goes up to 10 speed, and with your Izuku Midoriya character card enhance, it'll be 15 attack. So you have a card that's 10 speed, 15 attack, and although it's a mid, it means that it can be blocked by anything. But ideally, with your opponent having a bunch of things committed, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to have a completely fully block on this card. Make them take 15 damage, which for a lot of characters is half their vitality. So now going over his first enhance quite briefly, destroying one of your own foundations, your next punch attack gets -2 difficulty. This further incentivizes you to use future charge when you're trying to go for a string of attacks, when you're trying to go for your combo, because your next attack is going to have -2 difficulty. Whether you go for another future charge and that becomes -2, or whether you go for a 5% Detroit Smash when you're trying to finish it and you want a really easy control check. It doesn't matter, right? You're getting -2 difficulty. Why would you not want to take that? It's easier to play your cards. Now, in terms of foundations you can destroy, you have a plethora of them. Cards like Rigorous Training, Bonds of Friendship, Note Taking. These are cards where, for example, with Note Taking, you have to flip after you use it. Or Bonds of Friendship, you also have to flip after you use it. Where you'll still be able to get value off them because you'll be able to use them for control checks, but you won't be able to use their effects anymore. Or for example, when you take a look at Rigorous Training, once it enters your staging area and you gain the +2 vitality, it's basically the exact same thing as Bonds of Friendship and Note Taking, where it's pretty much useless and you can only use it for control checks. So these are the foundations that you can easily destroy after taking advantage of their effects in order for you to allow future charge first enhance effect to actually activate. All in all, I think that this is a cool and card that's going to be super fun to play with Izuku Midoriya, just allowing you to have more combo options by allowing you to play cards that might be slightly difficult, but allowing that -2 difficulty to kick in so you can get that extra attack off and maybe end the game a little bit earlier. So what are your guys' thoughts on future charge? And as well, for you UFS veterans that obviously know way more about the game than I do, how do you think that this card ranks up in some of the other cards that are currently out in other sets? Do you think that this card actually has any impact on anything else in the game inside of the standard format? Or do you think that this is a card that's really just only going to be seeing play in the MHA only format just because of the lack of other options that we have? Regardless, I'd like to know what your guys' opinions on that are as well. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys on my next video. Make sure to like, subscribe, share it with a friend. But don't forget, guys, don't forget the most important thing. You gotta go Plus Ultra. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.